Hello, if you're new to the channel, my name is Sam. I was making another game using Unreal, and it's great. I'm happy with it, but it is a very large and ambitious project, and I thought it would be really fun to try and make a game really quickly, and so I decided to make something that was a slightly smaller scale. So this is my plan, and I'm going to kind of try and go over what I've done over the past couple of weeks. What am I saying? The past couple of days, because it's been about a week since I submitted the last video for the other project that I'm working on. But this is how it began. So it began right here. We just have some inputs for the WASD, and we have some inputs for the mouse, and we have a clamp for the pitch so that we can't look too high or low. And then we attached a spotlight to our Pixel Perfect camera. I'm using the Pixel Perfect camera because it's something I developed from, I'd say developed, it's something I learned from the previous project, was that the camera is wonderful, but this asset, the Pixel Perfect camera, it's really great for what I'm trying to do, which is to kind of give you that sort of lo-fi pixelated game look. So we just have a camera with a light attached to it, and we just had the pitch and the movement. So I could move the player around, look around, and I had a torch. So I could make the space very dark and just use the torch to be able to make my way around the scene. The next thing that I did was I actually got this, which is a floor plan, and I used the floor plan to basically, I opened it in Blender and I had a plane, and I was subdividing the plane into different squares, and then I was using those squares to kind of select where I wanted to have the roof and the windows and things. But this one is 19 feet by 6 inches, and I'm using the metric system, so there was a little bit of confusion in the conversion between them, so it's a little bit not exactly what I want. But it is the first game that I'm going to just release completely on Steam, make it as quickly as possible, so I don't mind if it doesn't look great. But this is what I ended up with. Yeah, so there's like a flat plane, which is the ceiling, and then there is this sort of shape up here, which is the roofs. And there's a little bit of window frame for where the windows are, and there was a mesh that I made as well for the doors, and I made a mesh as well for the garage doors. And then, once I had this base architecture done, which, was the shape of the house, the shape of the boundaries of the house, so the boundaries of the level, which is just these cliffs here, and yeah, once I had the doors in, like I made the garage doors, I made the normal doors, and I made the architecture. That's all very broad strokes. And then I have to get a little bit more detailed. So we go into furniture. And I have to thank Kenny for his wonderful contribution to independent game development, because this is all Kenny's furniture assets that I used. But I had to I got like a horror texture pack, and I reapplied some horrifying textures onto the different furniture items. You can see these ones all packed into a single point. And once I had all the furniture done, I realized that furniture is not enough, because you can't have empty shelves or empty desks. You need to have little things. And so we have clutter. And so we have a basis for some food, we have some bookshelves, and we actually have some clothes as well. I'm not sure what happened to those, but they're in the game, so you'll see them. Also, I did get some cars from Kenny, and I just have 3 versions of the car. Like, these two are the same, but with different textures. So this is the player's car, and these are the 2 kind of cars that are inside the garage. So we'll jump over to the game again. So we had this basic blueprint set up, and then we imported the terrain I say terrain, I mean the architecture. We painted lots of trees all around the architecture. We put some decals on the windows so you can see the garages here. We have some decals to make the windows look very dirty. And inside the rooms, we, you know, did our best to kind of try and fill the space with different furniture, like the rugs, the benches, all of that. I think I can just dive in and show you now. In fact, I think I'll change one thing quickly, which is actually how bright it is. And it's supposed to be darker than it already is. I know that's probably dark enough, but I want it to be extremely dark. Because I kind of want it to be that you can only really see what the torch is showing you, and everything else is pitch black. So the game will actually start over here. The player is going to start the game outside by their car. And they're going to approach, and they're going to find that this door is locked. They'll have to walk around, find this door is locked, and so they'll walk around. See, these are all shut, but at long last there will be one door that's unlocked. And I'll explain what that cube is in just a moment. Because that's what I was working on today. So what was I doing today? Today I was making it so that, you know, I can press E, nothing's happening, but if I'm looking at the door and I press E, the door opens. And you can probably hear that little bit of static that's just playing all the time. Something I want to do is have a door close, door open sound, and perhaps adjust the speed of the door opening. I actually quite like the speed of the door opening and closing, but when we have a sound effect that's playing, we're going to have to kind of time it with the sound effect. So this is what I was saying about clutter. We can't just have these shelves, we have to get, like, you know, boxes, just things to like fill the space. Because it is a very large space. That's what I mean. It didn't translate very well. And these ones have some kind of strange shadows on them, but that's okay. They're just for decoration. So this is actually the placeholder for our first key. So I'll show you, even though it takes a little while. Also something I want to add as well is adding shift so that we can run, but have a temporary run before we get tired. So I'm pressing E and the door is locked. It's not opening. So the player, ideally the player will go and see that, and then they'll be, okay, I've got to explore this room a bit. So they'll explore the room a bit, find the key, and then when they come back, they'll be able to open the door because they have the key now. So this is the functionality I got today. It was just getting the doors to open and close smoothly with the player looking at them, because we're firing a ray. And that was something I learned from the other game as well. You know, I actually had to go into the other game and look precisely at how it was that I got the ray to fire directly from the camera. And this was a much better solution once I got it done. You know, I'm very happy with this solution. So we experienced a little crash just as we were wandering around, and it's because I have Blender open. I think I could do OBS and Unity, OBS and Unreal. I can have those two together, but if I also have Blender open, then the video memory is just not enough to handle all of them. So yeah, basically today was getting all those doors working, and that's nice, getting the keys working. So keys allow certain doors to be opened. You know, certain doors are locked until we find those keys. Like this door is locked. The door to the master bedroom is locked. And without going into too much detail, what else do I need to do? So there's a little bit more complexity in the interactions between keys and doors, because there's the direct pick up the key, now you can open the door. But then also with a door like this, we need a trigger inside the room, so that when we're inside the room, we know, okay, the door's unlocked, we can open it now. But when the player is at first standing outside and they come up to the door, they haven't stepped into that trigger, so this door should actually be locked. So that's one complexity. And another thing is that another key is actually going to, rather than open a door, allow an interaction to take place. So one of the keys is some matches that we have in the laundry. When we use the matches on the fireplace will open or turn on. And when the fire is on, then one of the doors will actually magically open by itself. Because it's a haunted house full of ghosts, I think that we can allow things to happen by themselves. And yeah, once the complexity of those 3 different key types is working, I don't know why this one's locked. What what thing do I need? Oh, that's right, we need the matches to do it, because the matches are the ones that open that. Anyway, let's stay focused. So we have 3 different types of keys. We have the key that directly opens the door. We have the key which is an item that needs to interact with an item, and when that item is interacted with, the locked door will magically open. And then we'll have rooms which have triggers in them, so that once you enter that room, that door will be able to open. So this one opens outside, and that's because I want it to be so that when we step into this room, we unlock that trigger. I'll just show you the clothes. So that now we'll be able to open this door. But if we only stood out here, and we've not been in this room yet, it'll have a message or a sound effect to tell us that the door is not locked, but jammed. So there'll be 2 different types of doors, which are jammed doors, and then there'll be locked doors. And locked doors will require that first key, whereas jammed doors will, be unjammed when you open them from the correct side, or when you activate a special item interaction, and then that door will open. Because then once that's done, the only thing that's left is, adding shift so that we can do a bit of sprinting. Once we step inside the house, we want this torch to start flickering. And the longer we spend in the house, the more the torch will flicker. And as you can see, away from the torch is very dark. In fact, I think I could make it even a little bit darker, but that's pretty dark. Maybe not, because I still want the player to be able to see where they're going. But basically, the ghosts can't hurt you when you shine the light on them. The ghosts can only creep in from the darkness, and so the more that the torch is failing and flickering, the closer the ghosts are going to get to you. And so it's kind of a time trial. You have to kind of hurry up a little bit to find all the things. Otherwise, the torch will flicker so much that the ghosts will be able to catch you. And yeah, one of the other things, like I said, is there's the fireplace, turning the fireplace on, turning all these lights on. So these will be permanent lights, and so they'll become permanent safe areas where the player doesn't have to worry. Like, the torch won't flicker when we stand in the light. The torch only flickers when we stand in the haunted darkness aura, which the whole house has when we first enter it. But as we find the items and we activate them, we'll have little safe areas. So this will be a safe area, and the bedrooms where the other lamps are will be safe areas. Wherever I put lamps, once we get the generator up and running, then we can turn the lamps on and we can have safe areas so that we can do a little bit more. It's not quite as rushed. But once all the lamps are on, that's when the final door is unlocked, and we'll be able to go into the master bedroom, and it's in the master bedroom where we go into the bathroom, and then into the closet, and this is basically where the game ends. There's going to be an event that happens over here to say, congratulations, you win the game. But yeah, the thing I need to do is, like I said, get those other 2 types of door locks keys working, and then I need to make the torch to be flickering on and off once we're inside the space, and I need to make it so that I need to basically create the ghosts and have that game over state and that game win state. And then once that's done, all we really got to do is make a nice pause menu, and we've got to make a nice main menu. We've got to make a nice options menu so that you can adjust the resolution. You can adjust the sound. I don't think there's going to be any music. I mean, there probably should be music on the main menu, but I'm thinking during the game it'll be pitch black. Also, once the generator's on, we'll be able to open these doors. So I haven't made any way to open these doors, because these obviously open a different way to that, but they basically just go straight up, so it's pretty straightforward. So that shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, this is where we're at now with the horror game. That's where I've been for the past week, for anyone who was watching the other series that I was working on. If you're wondering where I was, what I was up to, I was working on game. It's just a completely different game. and I wasn't sure if I wanted to add it to the playlist because it's a different game. So I thought, why not just make a new playlist, have a new set of thumbnails, kind of bring in a new audience because I know that horror is kind of a popular thing. That's why I sort of chose to do horror. Also because, you know, there's a lot of stuff in horror that I can get away with, like the fact that the space looks unusually large adds to the fact that it's horror because it's sort of like we're in a nightmare, we're in a dream, and things they don't always look exactly the way that we expect them to. So I feel like mentally I could write myself out of a lot of the problems that I'm facing because it's horror, and so things don't necessarily need to look nice or make sense. In fact, the uglier they look, the better. Because that's horror, right? Is when things don't look good. So yeah, um, I think that's enough talking from me. I think you kind of get the idea of where I'm going. I'm going to try to stick to that schedule of doing a video every day because I was really enjoying that. And I probably won't make any more videos on the other playlist until I can show you that this game is sitting on Steam, and please go buy it. And I'd actually like to repeat this cycle and make like 3 horror games, because once I have all of the kind of logic set up for this one, I can use the same project, but then I just need to make a whole new level design. And level design is the thing I struggle with the most. So I'm actually very proud that I was able to get a whole house done. And I realize that it's those 3 things. It's architecture, and then it's furniture, and then it's clutter. And it's only once all 3 things are in that the house actually starts to look finished, like lived in. Because I was always wondering, I was always expecting, that it would just be architecture and furniture. But then I realized, no, you need lots of little things. But little things can be repeated, and you can have little things in certain groups, and those groups can be repeated. So you don't have to place every single flower. You can set a bunch of flowers, and then you can use that bunch in a few different areas, as long as you have different variations, like different palettes, if you will. So, I think it's good fun. I really enjoy the process of learning level design. So I think, yeah, keeping the complexity of the coding to a minimum, having just a really simple game that I can prepare quite quickly. I've done most of the work with this one, and so the ones that come after it will basically be this one, but some of the code will be adjusted specifically for that game, but then the whole level design will all get done over again. So hopefully I'll get better and better at level design, because that's kind of one of my weak areas. It's not so much like I don't think I'm very good at coding, but I feel very motivated and excited to do coding. Whereas with level design, I always feel a little bit like tired and bored with it. So it's something that I want to actually put my mind to and get better at it so that I can achieve things and feel that it's rewarding and fun, which it is. I'm happy with it now that I can run around the house and there's little things in all the rooms. But yeah, I need to get the ghosts done, and I need to finish the keys, and then I need to make all the menus. That's pretty much it. So I will be updating you all tomorrow, hopefully, if I can stick to the plan. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.